So let's talk about this unique opportunity that kind of fell in your guys' lap. So you're a
Mhm,
bartender.
mhm.
The owners knew you were a home brewer, and this was what, to June 2021, somewhere around there.
Correct, mhm.
And then just 2 years later, you got the opportunity to start running the operations there as the head brewer. Like, walk me through, like, how did that actually all happen?
Yeah, it's a funny story. So you go back even further to 2019,
Okay.
the brewery, you know, its first opens. First time I walk in, the two guys behind the bar, and I recognize them actually from Kingsport Oktoberfest like 3 years prior,
Okay.
and I actually shared a tent with them, like homebrew side, and I shared a tent with them at the festival.
Hmm.
Never thought I'd ever see them again. I'd never met the guys before, but again, first time I come in, recognized those. That's because they already knew I had a home brewing background, even back then. Um, Come along, fast forward again to 2021, and they both had full time jobs, outside the brewery too. And again, kind of the time thing. They like, "Well, you may have some time to brew on the weekends to either help us out or, we both have families and jobs, like I said, and they again lack of time. So they kind of brought me on first 6 months just to kind of see how they did it. Every brewery's got their own way of doing things. Of
Hmm.
course, they need a bigger system better than I did at the time. And then after about 6 months of training with them, they kind of gave me the reins to be head brewer at that point and kind of do everything.
Wow.
Then fast forward again to the end of 2023, um, and they approached myself, my business partner Dan, and basically saying the timing for them was their 5 year lease was going to end up that following April.
Okay.
And they were saying, okay, again, they've got full time jobs, want to do other things in life. Nothing's wrong with the business. We just want to do something different. So they approached us. We're like, you two are our first picks to take over the business. If you want to do that, great. If not, we'll look for somebody else.
Hmm.
If we can't find somebody else, we're closing the doors in April. Like that's it. We're done. We're walking away. So me and
Interesting.
yeah. So me and Dan talked it over, and then from about January 1 to April 1 of 2024 is a mad dash of getting all the business legal stuff, all that paperwork filed and done.
Yeah, we'll probably jump into that as well too, because I do have to have a couple questions about that side of the house. When you okay, let's go back to you being like excuse me, the head brewer before you actually owned the place. Were you allowed to be creative and change things, or were you kind of stuck to what they were brewing at that time?
Within certain limits. So we have six flagships. Basically, the rules were keep those the same, of course. Um, Other things as far as like what grains and hops use we have in inventory, we're really not going to expand that inventory too much. So you can kind of make whatever you want given those parameters. So again, if we have something on hand that should make it change the amounts or change the hops or change the recipe itself, but use these ingredients, so we're not keeping extra inventory.
I guess that makes sense because also cuts down cost and waste and
Hmm.
all that kind of good stuff too, especially if something
Right.
doesn't quite take off. So that would really really suck. Oh, yeah, that's quite fascinating. I was always kind of curious how that kind of works. I remember when what was it? Was it JHR or JRH? I always forget the name of that one that was in Johnson City with the
JRH.
JRH. And I think
Mhm.
that's what they had set up as well too when they sold to what's his name? Stephen Callahan, I believe his name is. No, yeah, basically make these beers for X amount of time if that kind of do whatever you want.
Mhm.
And I feel like I don't know if that's a normal standard, but the more people I've talked to, it kind of seems that's like the best practice, which kind of makes sense because you already have a clientele, right? As used to
Exactly.
drinking this certain lager, this certain style of porter. If you were just to come in by going, all right, we're all doing hazy IPAs and 120 uh, pints all flavored West Coast IPAs, like you may lose
Right.
like all your clientele, which would really really suck.
Right.
So excuse me. So you took that one class in college.
Mhm.
The rest was just practicing, obviously.
Yeah, it's practicing. It was YouTube, reading books, talking to other home breweries. Is over time you pick up things like, okay, maybe that worked, maybe that didn't. Trial and error.
So how did you build up the confidence in your ability for recipes at a commercial scale?
I mean, honestly, the way I look at it too is as long as you have good brewing techniques and are, of course, like sanitation and cleanliness, you're gonna make a drinkable beer. It may not be the exact thing that you have envisioned or what you have on paper, but it'll get
Right.
you in the ballpark, for that starting point. So, I mean, as long as everything's clean, you're sanitary, and everything, you're gonna be fine.